Alright, so, by the title of this video, probably you already know I have fallen again towards the snail's might. In other words, I bought T72, which is a premium Russian ground vehicle, and I bought it strictly for the reason that I could grind out the Russia's ground tech tree, because, quite frankly, I am in a position where I think I could afford to buy it. I'm not about to spend another 100 hours grinding out another tech tree, so I ended up buying it. But I also wanted to talk about sort of the grind and some other stuff as well. The grind, as I've talked about in the last video, they tried to make it better with the gold map. I think it's a bit easier than it was, I'd say like a year ago, but still I feel like it is incredibly long, and if you are only gonna play like an hour a day, you might as well say goodbye to getting to top tier. I mean, it took myself on a free-to-play account just about a year and a half to 2 years to get the top tier in just air, and air is, at least in my opinion, more easy to grind than ground. But still, that was a incredibly long time, and if you don't have the time for that, then I can of course see why you might not be so attracted to the idea of playing this game. Now, I went ahead and bought this tank on sales, and here in Canada it was about 40 bucks after tax, and you know, it's much better than paying the 90 or whatever it would have been full price. And that's also another thing. If you are going to spend money on this game, I highly recommend always wait for the sales. Me personally too, I've never waited, or I've never bought anything unless it was on 50% off discount. Because simply put, there's no time, and the only thing you're gonna really lose by waiting is not having a tank earlier, or the vehicle, or the ability to grind, whatever. And if you're buying it to have fun, please do not. In my opinion, at least, none of the premium vehicles bring fun to you. Most of them are really good to grind with, but they take incredible amounts of patience, and you have to have some previous skill at the game to be good at them. Now, this gameplay, I got 8 kills. I believe this was the day I bought it. It is an incredibly good tank. I've been playing it a lot recently. This is a couple days after recording, but I've been playing it a lot, and I can say it's a really good tank. As you saw there, I used high explosive, and that's one thing I will say. At least for Russian tanks, I'm not sure about the rest, but I would recommend it if you can. Take some high explosive or heat shells, especially in top tier, because especially light tanks or anti-air even, if it's at a distance or if it's like at an angle and you can't get a full hit on it, the high explosive, if you just touch the body of it, in most cases you'll get the kill. So right here, I got hit by Abrams, and one thing I do like about this tank is the autoloader. Now, a lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it. The reason I prefer it is strictly for the reason that I can put out fires while it's not having to impede my reloading time, because the autoloader will still be reloading. Sure, I can't use my gun, but that might mean life or death sometimes, you know, not burning down, but still being able to load. Now, the way you want to play this tank, the way I found, was don't push up. You might see me pushing up here a lot, but you want to wait for the enemies to come here. This is quite a squishy tank. You'll tank shells for sure, but you won't be sitting there like a BVM, right? This is a good tank, but at distance. I feel the best thing this tank is good at is the distance, because it has those Gen 2 thermals and an amazing gun at distance, even close range. But the gun is amazing, the shell is amazing, especially compared to the other tanks who have Gen 1 thermals, mostly at this BR. You're going to be light years ahead of them in terms of capabilities. Close up, this tank isn't the best. Something like a M1 KVT or a Leopard probably will tank more shells than you, and they're just all around more agile than you as well, because you don't have the reverse speed, which is a major downside of Russian tanks, is that not having any reverse speed, so you can't get out of danger, or even after firing a shell, you can't get out of that situation. But I feel like for at least for this tank, it's overcome with by the gun and the thermals because they're just amazing. Even in a city situation, I'll most likely be using my thermals simply for the fact that they're just that clear at this BR. And you know, why not? You know, use the advantage that you have. Now I do have a lineup for this tank. I have the SU-25K as well, which I also bought on another sale. And I don't want to be seen as a wallet warrior. In my own personal belief, I believe I'm far from that. I got the top tier first on a free-to-play account. I know that doesn't discredit me, you know, purchasing vehicles for this, but I feel like I can take the time to spend the money on it. I mean, I've spent an ungodly amount of hours on this game, and it practically is the only major game I play, so I feel like I might as well spend some money on it, because I know I'm not going to quit it anytime soon. But if you are going to spend money on this game, I'd make sure that you find a good vehicle. There's a lot of premium vehicles that are not as good as you might think they are. Case in point, the Milan, I think it's called, the French fighter bomber jet. I think is just hot trash. That if you buy that, I feel sorry for you. I mean, you could use it, but it's incredibly difficult to use it effectively, especially at that BR with all aspect missiles and everything flying around. It's gonna be incredibly hard to use it. But coming back to this loadout, I mostly use the T72 as the first thing I take out. But it is the only thing I have at this BR for Russia. But I take this out first. I like to either hang back or flank around, because at distance this armor can actually tank a good amount of shells. So I use the thermals and at distance to sort of take out some enemies on the side, and then hopefully flank around. And flanking around might get you some extra kills. But the real like firepower of this lineup is that SE-25K or the Rook. That thing comes with 8 S250s. I don't even use the guided munitions. I don't use anything else. The 8 S250s by themselves, if you get a direct hit or even a close hit, most times, it's a kill. If not, your enemy will be heavily damaged. But in most cases, I have found it's either you missed it or you got a kill. There's no in between. Those rockets are amazing. They're unguided, but you can't launch them from a distance to get around that anti-air. The one thing I am learning though is to have better reaction times, because at top tier I'm not used to the reaction times yet. I still prefer lower tiers, but it is fun once you get good matches. So what I'm doing here is it's the end of the match, and as you know, in top tier or basically in a ground match, the team who's winning at the end just spawn camps the enemy team. And I know it's a scummy move, but honestly, it's a game. Just it's fine. Just have fun. If you're losing, then I don't think you should really be angry that you're getting spawn camped. Just leave the match, I feel like. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I understand it is quite frustrating, especially when I'm on the receiving end of spawn camping. But even so, I'd recommend always having a piece of cover next to you. Because of the incredibly low reverse speed, I suggest being close to that piece of cover before you reverse out, because it is only around 4 kilometers an hour, so you're not going to go anywhere anytime fast. Anytime you sort of are in a situation where you have to back up, make sure that you have already in place a backup plan. And this is a very strategic vehicle, I will say. It is very hard to play with. Some of the matches I'll spawn in and just get killed right away because, you know, I'm not used to this BR, but once I get used to it, it is a good BR. But enemy team got a nuke, so credit to that guy in the Jaguar. He got a nuke, so proud of that. Hoping I can see my first nuke. But that's the end of the match, and I will be posting some more review videos soon and some more videos with some deeper topics. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.